Hey, fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. What are some of the best tennis rackets right now? You can't make that statement. What is best? There's so many good rackets out there, but I want to talk about my favorite rackets that you can buy right now. Because I get this question all the time, so I thought it would be good to make a video about it, but let's make it pretty quick. Let's go category by category. We start with control rackets. And my favorites in this category is the Blade 98 V8. I really like this frame. It's very solid every time I pick it up. I like it. It's not my match frame, but it could be technically. And there's also another frame I like a lot that you also see pretty much everywhere that you have advanced players, and that's the Head Gravity Pro. You have pros using it, which is in the name, but you have many intermediate to advanced players enjoying the slightly larger sweet spot, but still good precision of the Gravity Pro. That's kind of the control racket from Head, which has gone from the heritage of the Prestige Classic to the Pro Tour, the PT7A Pro Tour 630, then to the Gravity Pro, which has now become like the modern control frame. It has a kind of unique head shape, not everyone's cup of tea, while the Blade is a bit more of a traditional frame, but I find that the Blade is one of the best control rackets on the market, and you see it everywhere for a reason. So those are two great control rackets. Next category is the opposite. We go into powerful rackets. I tend to prefer rackets that have a little bit of a denser string bed, so you can hit flatter shots and still get control. With spin rackets, you're going to have more of a launch, and we'll get to that. But with power rackets, you're going to get more through the court power. Many of you know that I'm a huge fan of the E-Zone 100. I played with that for a while. It's a little bit muted sometimes, a bit too powerful for me to use in my daily tennis, but I really like this racket. I think it's the best power racket on the market, if you ask me. But it's not everyone's cup of tea, and then my second choice of power rackets would be the Dunlop FX500. I find this racket to be a little bit overlooked. It's a great frame, has a slightly denser pattern than, for example, a Pure Drive, and relatively good comfort, easy to use, just a very solid performer. So the E-Zone 100 and the Dunlop FX500 are my two favorite power rackets. You can obviously get smaller head sizes if you want a balance of power and control, like a Dunlop FX500 Tour or an E-Zone 98. Spin rackets. Spin is all about launch angle. You players who hit with a little bit more natural topspin. I like spin rackets sometimes when I need a bit more help, because I tend to hit flat and the ball has a slightly higher trajectory, so I'm not going to hit the tape as much. The ball might stay long. That's a bit more up to me. But my favorite spin racket is the Pure Aero 100. I find this racket to be an excellent update with the denser pattern and slightly lower stiffness and better comfort. So this frame is my favorite spin racket on the market. Very good frame. The second favorite spin racket might surprise you. It's the Prince Ripstick 300. A very fun racket to use. One of my favorite reviews in that sense, because it was just so fun to hit power and spin. Doesn't have the same control of the Aero quite, but good comfort, pretty low stiffness, nice semi-high swing weight, just an overall great performer, and something that can also be overlooked in these categories. Then we have comfort rackets for you who are struggling with maybe tennis elbow and shoulder problems, whatnot. You want to focus on the comfort category. They have maybe some issues with dampening, too much dampening, or some trampolining in the string bed, but it might be a worthy sacrifice. The Wilson Clash needs to be mentioned here. It's still a great frame. I'm a bit more of a fan of the V1, so version 1 of the Clash, but I still find the Clash to be a fun racket to use. Has this kind of unique pocketing, nice dampening, good dwell time in the string bed, the ball stays long, and it doesn't really aggravate your arm. Remember though that the string choice is as important as the racket, so if you put a very stiff polyester string at a high tension, doesn't matter what racket you use, it's still going to be a pretty stiff sensation when you hit the ball. But the Wilson Clash should be primarily mentioned here. I'm also a fan of Pro Kenix frames. Some of their frames are excellent. I do like the KIQ Plus 5. Their naming could be improved. Pro, it's a racket I've been using. That's the 315 gram, but I also like the 300 gram, which is a little bit more for everyone. These rackets offer excellent control thanks to the 1620 string pattern. They're not too dampened, so you can actually play touch shots, and they really have overall great playability. And thanks to the kinetic system, where you have micro beads moving around inside the frame towards the impact zone when you hit the ball, it's also offering great comfort. So that's an excellent comfort frame. Then we get to a category that's hard to name. I call it the all-rounder category. Rackets that try to do a little bit of everything. They don't do anything specifically at the top-notch level, but they are very balanced and are easy choices for players who are not maybe sure what racket they should get or what they want to get more out of a racket. The Headspeed MP is the most famous one in this category, a people's favorite for a reason, endorsed by Novak Djokovic, Yannick Sinner, etc. It's a great frame. Update to come very, very soon. I like the Speed Pro a lot more. I had to mention the Speed. I do like the MP a lot, but the Speed Pro with the 1820 pattern, a little bit more weight, is more for a flat player like me. Was given 2 thumbs up when I tried it. Very curious about the new version. Haven't yet tested that one. First impressions always on patreon.com/tennisnerd or for our YouTube members. So if you want to support the channel, please do that in this way. Another very versatile frame that is excellent is the Yonex Percept 100. The Percept is the new V-Core Pro. They changed the name. I thought it was a good idea. Maybe not the name per se, but to change it. And the Percept 100 has a good balance, not so thick of a beam, not so much power, kind of that mix of everything. You get some control, you get some power, you get some spin, and good comfort as well. So the Percept 100 is great. My favorite, again similar to the Speed line, I love the Percept 100D a bit more than the 100. Tighter pattern, 18-19 string pattern. Carousel just switched to that one. He announced on his YouTube channel. My buddy Caru, a very good player, obviously, as you might know, and it's a great frame. Not the biggest sweet spot, but does pretty much all things well. So those are the more all-round rackets that I prefer over the ones around the market. I do find there are obviously many good ones. I could keep talking about rackets for hours and hours. I test everything on the market pretty much and have many favorites. Same with strings. But I wanted to give you kind of a short update on what are my favorites at the moment in the marketplace. Things will keep changing as new rackets roll out in 2024. If you want to know more about upcoming releases, you can check my post on tennisnerd.net. I'll give you a brief update. We have new blades coming, new strikes, new speeds, new booms, new CX from Dunlop. There's so many new rackets coming in 2024. You will get the latest and the greatest info on tennisnerd.net and this YouTube channel. This I say with a little tongue in cheek. So please make sure to subscribe. Those are my favorites. Now I'm keen to know what your favorite rackets are at the moment. Do you have one you play with? Do you switch in between? Let me know in the comments. We'll do a Q&A soon if you have any questions, so you can put your questions also there. I'll make sure to read every comment that comes my way. I might not always have time to reply, but I'll keep my eyes in the comment field. And PS, if you want to support Tennis Nerd, check out the links in the description to Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, and Tennis Only, where you have links to rackets. If you use my link, I get a small commission if you purchase anything, not just that racket, could be a shoe, could be whatever. That supports the channel, that supports the work I try to do every day, and much appreciated. That's it. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.